Today's topic is how our belief system can cripple us. I mentor a lot of photographers, and I find that many times I need to break through the belief system that they have. Sometimes the belief system is what others have told them, and sometimes it's what they're telling themselves. So, what do I mean by belief system? Well, a lot of people think that I mean that on a spiritual level. You can go that route. But no, I'm really talking about the everyday voices that are in your head. Now, much of my audience are in the newborn photography business, but I do have a lot of people that listen to my podcast that aren't newborn photographers. Maybe they're just hobbyists. Maybe they're into children, family. They could be wedding, or it could be a completely different business, and they just want to be motivated by some of the things that I've said. I haven't recorded a podcast in about a year, and I think I have 5 million topics that I want to record, but sometimes I think it all just gets to be too much. And when I feel that way, I just kind of pull away. And while I'll get a million ideas to do podcasts, it takes a hot minute to kind of get yourself together, do the recording, and put yourself in that space to create words and a vision for other people to hopefully take away from. So we're back with podcasts. Hopefully we can do some regular episodes before the year ends. We're here at the end of September already in 2024. I honestly don't know what happened, but here we are. We're in a new studio. We moved in January. We still have so much to do. We haven't even begun to finish the many projects, but I love it. I announced my retirement from group teaching this year. There's a lot of confusion on the internet. My clients were thinking I was retiring from photography. Definitely not. I think that my day job, my photography, it's my job. It's what I love to do. And while I've pulled back from certain things in photography, my core subjects, maternity, newborn, children, family, stay the same. And I don't plan on retiring from that anytime soon. What I am pulling away from is after my world tour in 2025, then 2026 and beyond, I will focus more on mentoring small groups, more AI, and more international work. I will be going back and forth between New York and California as I continue to do. Many of you know I was born and raised in New York, and we are looking to open up a studio in New York in 2025, and we've been already taking bookings for that. I actually flew in on a red eye yesterday and back again and had a few client sessions while I was there. And I'm already back in my studio. So there's a lot that I still want to do. And, in between that, I'm mentoring photographers. And recently I started Skype mentoring again. Now, in my Skype mentoring, I have photographers around the world, all different ages and all different experience levels, from the brand new hobbyist, I haven't started my business yet, to the seasoned photographer wondering if they should quit, close up shop, and move on because the economy is so terrible. Look, I've been doing this 25 straight years, and I've been through ups and downs of the economy. The economy is never going to be amazing all the time. There are going to be times where it's great and times where it's not great. And as we go into an election year, people tend to still feel a little bit anxious. And I see so many photographers just saying, I'm done, I quit, I'm closing up shop. And I constantly quote Reverend T.D. Jakes, who says, don't make a permanent decision on a temporary situation. So I feel that this year, so many photographers are like, should I quit? Should I give it up? I'm not booking as much. What do I do? Do I just dip my prices super cheap, give it away, stand on the street corner with my camera? Like, what do I do? And I get it. You get nervous, you get anxious, how to pay the bills, what to do. I get it. I'm in the same business. I'm in the same economy, and I see the same things that everybody else does. So I don't escape it. I just know how to manage it. I think that the belief system that you have can make or break you. And what do I mean by that? Well, what are you telling yourself, or What are other people telling you? Growing up, I had a grandfather who lived till he was 97. He was amazing and he was my favorite subject. I was a hobbyist for 10 years. So he would just sit there and he was kind of our babysitter. And he had a camper and he'd pull up on the property and we knew he was staying a while when he came with the camper. And he'd cook for us and watch us. And we were 5 kids. And what I loved about him is he would just sit there and look at me straight in my camera. And I would just take a photo of him and he wouldn't flinch. He wouldn't blink. He wouldn't be like, no, I'm shy. He would just let me photograph him. Now, I was a hobbyist. I had no intention of going pro. I really had no intention of going pro till I went pro. I was happy being a hobbyist and I didn't take any money for sessions. It was just my side thing. And I will say that one thing my grandpa did, pretty much till the day he passed, was he always told me I was smart. Now, if you knew me, you wouldn't say I was smart. I was like a D student at best. My sister was like a straight A student. I was not. I did not like school. I hated school. The only thing I liked about school was the fresh notebooks and clothes every year. And that was about it. And I had a really hard time focusing. I wanted to do everything but sit in class. And I'm the youngest of 5. And so I was in trouble a lot. So I remember that if I was in trouble or I was grounded, he'd come to visit and he would just look at me and be like, oh, you're so smart. And I'd be like, I don't know about that. I don't think mom and dad agree with you at all. Like I'm grounded and, et cetera, et cetera. And he always, regardless of what situation I was in, regardless of what age I was, always told me I was smart. I would hear him tell other people, oh, that Anna Maria, she's so smart. I would just be like, he is delusional. He's crazy. He's old. He's a grandfather. Of course, grandpas are old like your whole life, right? So even when I was 10, he was considered old. He passed when I was in my 20s. So he probably wasn't old, but that's just kind of what we think about our grandparents. I mean, my kids think I'm old now, right? But he always said that. My mom, my adopted mom, she fought a lot of things at her time. I mean, she passed a couple of years ago and then we lost my dad last year and they were 88 and 90. And she married my dad 25 and 27 at a time where white women didn't marry Latin men. It just wasn't a thing. And she also adopted me, a brown girl, and that wasn't something that was done. And she became an ordained minister, had 2 master's degrees. And that's something that women were doing at the time. And I remember my mom would say, like, if she had all 5 of us out to the store and we're all a year apart and I'm brown and my other brother's light, very light because he's adopted and 3 are biological and we all look different. And people would always say to her, are these all your children? And she would just look them straight in the eye and be like, yes, period, and move on. She wouldn't explain, oh, we adopted this one, or she may if it's a conversation, but if you're just passing on the street and we're like 5 little ducks, she's not going to stop and explain it to you. She's like, yeah, they're my children. Done. And I know that she fought so many stereotypes, being a woman of the clergy, being a woman leading a church, being a woman marrying a man who primarily spoke Spanish, being a woman who adopted this Puerto Rican street kid. And there was a lot of things that people told her not to do, that people told her she shouldn't do. And, I remember she would be like, well, that may be their belief system, but that's not my belief system. My belief system is different. I feel that I need to do this, 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 and this because this is what I'm called to do. She doesn't owe anybody any exclamation. And right before she passed, she had told me that I was Grandpa's favorite. He was my favorite as well. And she said, and he was actually taught so many years ago to not like people of color. And she said, and he was your favorite. And so, I was raised with a belief system that you can do anything, regardless if you're a woman, regardless of the color of your skin, regardless of who raised you. I wasn't raised by my biological family, regardless of where you live, regardless of how much money you have, regardless of what God you worship or what you choose not to worship, We had friends of every race, every color. We had friends that were atheists. We had friends that were Jews. We were just raised in a way that you're responsible for you, your work, what you're doing. And if you want to do something, don't let anybody else tell you different. And if people are going to question you, and if people are going to judge you, and if people are going to put their own personal belief system on you and tell you you can't do something, that's their choice, not yours. It doesn't mean that just because someone says you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, I don't agree with this, it doesn't mean you should listen to them. Now, if you're 10 and your parents are telling you not to do this, that's a different story. But I'm talking about you're an adult and you're trying to run a business and you're trying to make money and you're trying to raise a family and you're trying to do all these things. And unfortunately, there are going to be people that are going to impress upon you based on their beliefs and how they were raised. And so then we have a choice. Do we listen to them? I'm married to them. I'm living with them. They're my family. They're my best friend. Or do we say, thank you for your opinion. I respect it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm not talking about being disrespectful or going against somebody that's important in your life. I'm talking about the fact that I mentor photographers all the time, and their belief system is so out of whack. Many times not from what other people are saying, but from what they are telling themselves. What do you say to yourself when you wake up in the morning? There was this video that popped on my Instagram the other day, and a woman said, you're laying in bed going, I can't sleep, I can't sleep, I can't sleep, I can't sleep. And so your whole body's going, we can't sleep, we can't sleep, we can't sleep. And so you're up all night. And she goes, or you could flip that switch and say, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to rest my body. And she was saying all the things you can tell yourself to go to sleep. Now, people that have an issue sleeping might disagree with her. And honestly, I don't know what she was selling or what her name was, but we hear it all the time, right? I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. I have no money, I have no money. No one's booking me. I suck. I'm terrible. I don't have enough experience. I don't have the right camera. I don't have a studio. I see it every day. Every day. And so when I'm mentoring people, I'll say, what would you tell your children? If you're a parent, I'm going to say good parent because not all parents say amazing things to their children. And your child is struggling. They are thinking they're not good enough, or they're failing something, or they tried something and it didn't go as planned. Usually a good parent would be quick to lift them up, right? You're going to go, oh my gosh, you're going to probably empathize and tell of a previous failure of yours. That's what I do all the time. And then you're going to think of something encouraging to lift them up. So the next day they're ready to go. And that's your job. You're coaching this little human in the world that has to navigate. And it's hard. Sometimes, 2 and 3-year-olds and 5-year-olds and 10-year-olds, and you've got to go through the waves of life with them, but you're coaching all the time and you're being positive and you're like, you got this, you can do anything. And then they think, oh yeah, she said I can do it. I can do it. And so you're literally altering their DNA. You're literally telling them, you're instilling a belief system that they can do it. Now, unfortunately, some parents are not so amazing at that. And maybe they put their children down and maybe they tell them they can't do something. And so then the child now has a choice. Do they instill the belief system of their parent, or do they take it upon themselves to break the cycle and start a different belief system, right? So when I'm mentoring photographers and they say, I'm really struggling, or I don't know when to charge. And I'm like, are you starting a business? Yes, then you charge day one. Day one. I mean, I was a web designer before I became a photographer, and I had a website way before I became pro because I was a web designer. So my nieces and my nephews were all on this website. There was just no pricing. It was just a pretty website. The day that I decided to go pro, I had moved from New York to California. and I started shooting child models and I had to put a price to it, I put a price. I didn't put a price that said, all of the images that you see are my nieces and nephews. I didn't put a price that said, I have no previous professional experience. I didn't put a price that said, this is my work, this is my price, but it's really not that good. So I'm just going to charge you the bare minimum. And eventually when I think I'm good, then I'll charge more. I mean, you get the idea, right? Yet so many times I talk to photographers and so many things, they're either not charging at all and they're waiting for, I don't even know what, the second coming to start charging. I just don't understand what they're waiting for. And they're taking clients and they're taking bookings and they're photographing the baby and they're like, it's just a model call, Anna. You know, I'm going to do like 5, 10 of these, then I'm going to start charging. I'm like, you can't afford to do that many. You're going to be broke sleeping on the street. And your partner, your family is going to be like, when is this hobby? When are you going to make money? This isn't, you're not any good. You're having a terrible session. Maybe you should give this up. We can't afford for you to invest in this. And it's just a disaster. Or you're charging, but you're charging less than what you're worth because you've already told yourself you're not worth charging because your belief system has told you you're not good enough and there's better people around you and you can't charge until you're worth something. And then you go to a workshop and your belief system tells you you can't share the images from a workshop because 5 photographers told you you can't do that because you didn't create the set. So you don't. So you spend all these money on workshops with images that you don't touch, even though you've been given permission to touch these images and to share them as your portfolio because someone else impressed their belief system on you. I see it. I hear it every single day. And this is a job. I don't care whether you started tomorrow or last year or 10 years ago, it's a job. And so what I tell the photographers I'm mentoring, if a plumber comes to unplug your toilet, he's not going, this one's on the house. This is the first toilet I've unplugged. No, he's probably in the bathroom on YouTube trying to figure out how to unclog your toilet because he doesn't know because he's never seen it before. But he's spending time. He brought over his tools. He left his family. And so he's unclogging your toilet and you're going to pay him. I don't think I've ever heard of a plumber going, this one's on the house or just pay me $10, whatever I paid for the equipment. Or mechanics or hairdressers. Hairdressers go to school and then they get a chair in a salon and maybe they're not charging as much as some of the lead hairdressers, but they're charging because they got to pay for their seat in the salon. They're not going, I'm going to cut like 5,000 heads before I charge. And I could go on and on and on and on, but photographers, we're the passionate, sweet ones. We're like, it's good. You don't have to pay. And then you go in the moms groups and the clients are going, I need a photographer that doesn't charge an arm and a leg. I want a photographer that's under $200. I want this. And wouldn't it be great if the starting salary of photographers was $500 and up or $1,000 and up? Let's just be conservative and just say 500 and up because that's barely covering the cost of what it takes to do a newborn session. You need the lights and you need the outfit and the clothes and the setup and the tear down and the time away from your family and never mind the insurance and that $4,000 or $5,000 camera you're holding and the software that you need to edit. And so photographers get all anxious and mad and they start posting like, this is how much a session costs and this session cost me $500 to do and you want me to just do it for $200 because that's all you can afford. But I can't afford to do that. And so then some photographers go, well, no one's booking me. I'll do it for 100. I'll do it for 50. I'll do it for whatever. And it becomes like this bidding war auction. And I'm like, what if there wasn't that option? What if the starting salary of a newborn photographer was 500 above and everybody did that? And then when people are looking for a deal, this is the best deal we got. It's like you go to get tires. No one's sitting there on the street corner going, do you want these tires for $10? You know, when you go to get tires, it's going to be a good amount of money. And you can shop around at all the tire places, but there's kind of there's this number. It's what the market will bear for tires based on labor, cost of goods, time, and installation. And so you can call 50 tire places and you can get the lowest guy, but it's still not going to be like $50. He's going to be like, I'm the best deal you got. And you're going to have to pay it. And you're like, yeah, because there's like a price that the market will bear. But photographers are going below that because their belief system Again, it could be a person, it could be what you're telling yourself, it could be how you were raised, who trained you, whatever it is, has told you this is what you're supposed to do. I started charging day one. Was I good? I'm pretty sure I wasn't. I had no mentors. I had no trainers. I bought every one of Ann Geddes' books. I studied Ansel Adams. I tried to understand light and shadows and how to use my camera. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anyone I could jump on Skype and ask them. I didn't have any of that. I had a mom I could call, and that was about it. And I just went with it, and I gave myself permission to grow and to learn and to fail. Because over the 25 years, I've made a lot of mistakes. I could fill your days with stories. I could get some of my clients and they could tell you what they are. But it didn't stop me, because photography is what I love to do. And I'm a work in progress, and I'm still learning and I'm still growing. I don't know everything about everything. Just because I learned AI and just because I teach and train, it doesn't mean I know everything. I definitely don't. And every single day, I'm trying to learn and grow and be a better version of myself. But I can tell you what I don't do. I don't allow someone else's belief system to cripple me. I just don't do it. It doesn't mean I don't listen to anyone. Sometimes someone will say, Anna, maybe you shouldn't do 3 countries in one weekend. And I'm like, I mean, I can do it, but should you? Okay, maybe I shouldn't. But I sleep really well on a plane, so like I'll blink and it'll be done. And I've done it. But then it's like, all right, maybe I don't have to do that. And so, sure, I listen to people, but I don't listen to people in a way that if I feel deep in my soul, I want to do something, I do it. I do it. And I do think it's important to consult people and get advice, but I can't believe how many people are allowing their own personal belief system, what they're telling themselves, they're not good enough, they're not worthy to charge or market, or who are they to be going and doing this? I just finished a 4-day academy, and we were going around and who was going to do their pricing. And one of my newest photographers, she's a client of mine, and she came to me with her baby for a session and ended up asking if I would train her. And she joined a bunch of my workshops. And when we came around to her, she was like, I'm starting at 900 or above, because the first thing I did was listen to Anna's webinar or whatever it was, podcast on pricing. She was like, I did that before anything. She doesn't even own a camera. And she said, but the first thing I did was I listened to the pricing webinar. And so she has a day job. And so she knew if she was leaving her day job, she couldn't afford to start cheap. She had to start at a price the market would bear. Now, she hasn't officially opened up her business yet, but she's going to. And she's done several trainings and mentoring with me. And when she's ready to put open, she will be ready at a market price. Now, I'm pretty sure people will come around and go, wait, she just started. How is she coming at a price that's more than I'm charging? Because again, they're going to try to put their belief system on her. But she knows the numbers. We've talked about the numbers. I've personally trained and mentored her. She's listened to me and she's like, I can't afford to quit my job then. If I'm going to work for pennies, I just can't do it. And so you've got to be realistic that if this is your only job, or if you're trying to leave another job, you've got to charge an amount that makes sense. And it's not based on your self-worth, and it's not based on your personal belief system, unless your personal belief system is telling you, yeah, you are worth it. Because this is a job. It's why I keep saying marketing isn't about how good you are, it's who you are. I'll market later. Or, oh, I'll do an ad later. Or, oh, I'll join events later. Or I'll do that later when I think I'm good enough. I'm like, you're going to spend the rest of your life thinking you're good enough. I don't wake up every day and say I'm amazing. I say, I've got things to do. I say, Lord, what do you want me to do today? What's my message today? What am I going to do to make it better than yesterday? And I don't go and consult a bunch of people, or I would lose my living mind. I wouldn't get anything done. Because so many people have told me along the way, you can't do this. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't travel so much. When my kids were little, do you ever see your children? And I would get so mad because they'd literally be like doing their homework in the other room. And I would be like, yes, I took them to school. I picked them up. I did their snacks. I brought out their clothes. I made their lunch. But forgive me if I'm going to go do a photo shoot and they're not attached to my leg. So yeah, I can raise children and be a parent at the same time. But so many people are like, you're getting really successful in that business. Have you seen your children lately? And I would get so mad because I would be like, I literally picked a preschool next to my studio so I could walk them to school every day and pick them up. And I adjusted my schedule so that I could be home for dinner. And my whole life was counting the minutes and the hours and the days of pickup and drop off. And of course, being a mother meant everything. But yet other people's belief system was like, can't be a successful woman and raise children. No, that's not going to work. Something's going to have to sacrifice. Oh, you're probably not sleeping, right? Oh, that's another one that drives me crazy. She must not be sleeping. There's no way she can be successful, travel the world, and have 3 kids and sleep 7 or 8 hours a day. That's impossible. So she must not be sleeping. Again, someone else's belief system that thinks that in order for me to achieve everything I'm achieving, I must not be sleeping. And yet, if you'd ask my kids, they'd be like, oh, she's in bed at like 7 o'clock every night. But I learned the art of going to bed early, waking up early, getting things done before people wake up. And I actually love sleep. It's my favorite thing to do. And so getting 6, 7, 8 hours a day is very important to me. I can actually fly on a red eye to New York, sleep the whole way, sleep in the cab, take a nap, and probably get more sleep than the person that's asking me if I've slept. And it used to really bother me early in my career. And then I just got over it. Would just be like, that's not my issue. I don't have an issue with sleep. I don't have an issue with seeing my children, and I don't have these issues. So I can't listen to the people that are going, but, assuming that something must fail in order to be successful. And I don't even wake up every day and think I'm successful. I wake up every day going, I have to do this, and this. How am I going to get this done? And some things get done today and some things wait till tomorrow. But there's a lot of things I want to do, and I'm on a mission to get things done. And I'm going to do it based on my belief system that tells me I can do anything I want to do. And so when I'm mentoring and when I'm teaching photographers and I say, if this is your job, you should be charging. Allow yourself to grow. My clients have seen me grow over the years. They can tell you, oh, that wasn't such a great shoot. This one was. But we don't allow that. We just assume we're going to be perfect the minute we start business. That's not true. You've got to grow. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be charging. You should be charging day one. I have so many fantastic resources out there. I run an online school, bellybabyschool.com, where I have tons and tons of courses and how to run your business. I'm going to be doing a live event in November and December of how to be a baby photographer. And those who registered for that will get a book that I'm trying to finish up, the baby business book, and a slew of other things. For more information about that, you can go to AnnaBrandtEducation.com and see all that I have to offer. I mentor without judgment. I'm not here to judge anybody. We're all on specific paths. I'm here to encourage and to lift up and to give the tools. If you're going to make this a business, whatever business you have your domain name, your website, your insurance, your business accounts, your tax IDs, and you have everything that you need to run a business, and you do your pricing, and then you just go. But so many photographers are like, I've got to wait for this and that. And then when I say, do you have a website? Oh, no, not yet. I'll wait till I start charging. Do you have a camera? I do, but it's not the right one. And I'm just going to wait a little bit. Do you have this? And do you have that? Yes, no. Like, get to work. Like it's your last day. The client that I was photographing yesterday said, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow, but you better believe I'm going to work. And I'm going to do everything every day as much as I can and pass the legacy on to my daughter. And she said, too many people are waiting around acting like they have another 100 years in their life. When on the news the other day, it said middle age is 35. And we were talking about that. And she's like, of course it is. Because people are living to 65, 70, 75, maybe 80. So even 80, that means 40 is middle age. But we've been told growing up by other people's belief system that middle age is like 65, 70. When was the last time you met someone who's living at 150? Like, I don't know anybody. So when I saw that pop in the news, I said to Alex, I was like, oh my God, middle age is 35, 40. And then my client yesterday, she was like, yeah, why did we think it was ever different? Because people's belief systems made us believe that, oh, we're not middle age yet. We're going to wait till we're 50 or 60 middle age. No, middle age is like right now, 35, 40. And yet we're waiting. We're waiting for what? What are we waiting for? And why are we always trying to seek approval from people that don't need approval? And why are photographers especially always wanting to win the praise of other photographers rather than just trying to get their clients? I've mentored and trained half the photographers in California. I don't care about competition. I'm here to raise up men and women of all ages. I've had students as little as 12 years of age that want to learn photography to well into their 70s, wanting to have a second or a third career. I'm here to pass on the knowledge that I have because I believe anyone can do it. Anybody in any location, because that's my belief system. And if people pass on their belief systems to you that are positive, take it, grab it, and go. And when they're negative and they don't make you feel good, think twice. Think twice. Because the belief system might be what's crippling you. And you can write it down. Why am I not doing this? Write down the whys. How can I make this happen? Write them down and get past it. Because there's nothing magic is going to fall out of the air and tell you you're amazing. There's no fairy godmother that's going to whip her wand around you and go, you're ready to go now. That's just not going to happen. We've got to wake up every single day and say, what now? What can I do? How can I be better, do better, put one foot forward in front of the other? And if that's the only belief system you have, then that's going to get you somewhere. I'm Anna Brandt. I hope this podcast resonated with you in some way. Send me a message. Tell me if you learned something. I promise we're going to do more podcasts. I have topics 2 pages deep. I just need to get doing it. And hopefully something that I've said makes your day a little bit better. I'm Anna Brandt. Thanks for listening.
Did you like this podcast? We would love it if you gave my mom a kind review and reach out to her. To learn more about Anna, visit annabrandt.com. You can find out about her education opportunities at annabranteducation.com.